who you really are. Not to just glorify it or whatever, just like self-pity or whatever, but to show them that, you know what, I care about you as a friend, and I see you're dealing with this. You know what, I've dealt with that too, or I deal with that too. I'm not perfect, but I do believe in Jesus who forgives me of that and who loves me. The more we try to perfect ourselves as Christians and as Asian American Christians, I think the more we alienate ourselves from real people, from real hurts, from real issues, from real problems. I mean, if people look at us as, wow, they have it all together. I mean, you know, I would love to invite them over and whatever, but, you know, it's like they don't want to hang out with me because they just have it all together. I mean, they've probably got perfect home to go live in and perfect job and whatever. So the more and more we put up our image of, yes, I have it all together, I think it hurts our ability to share both who Jesus is and what Jesus has done in our lives. Jesus has saved us from a lot. Jesus has given us so much. And we need to turn around and show that to people. Say, you know what, I wasn't like this all the time. But God has done something amazing in my life. I was an RA in college, my junior and senior year. I loved it. My junior year was much more a better year for me. It was just a really fun hall of upper class guys. It was actually half freshman dorm, half upper class, and the upper class guys were just, they were all literally like on the clown club, in the clown club at Emory. I mean, they were like unicycling down the hall and doing juggling in the hall, and I mean, it was just really odd, kind of weird people, kind of. But they were fun, you know, they were very welcoming too. I mean, they were just fun because they just wanted to have fun together, and you know, they all chose to live on this hall even though it was like not the greatest dorm and all that kind of stuff. So it was a lot of fun, and I remember many conversations that I had. I wanted to love the hall, and I tried to love the hall. But people would come in late and just sit on my big white chair. It had this big, huge, puffy chair, and you know, we'd just sit there and talk. And I opened myself up, and they opened themselves up. And I think for a lot of them, they'd never interacted. A lot of them were Jewish. They never interacted with a Christian who would just talk realistically about things, talk about life, talk about issues that they had. They just had, you know, they just had their perspective that Christians always tell Jews that they're, you know, wrong or whatever, and yeah, Jesus is the real Messiah, and they need to come on over and all that kind of stuff. But just to have those real conversations and share life was exciting for me. Be involved in the people around you. I mean, just real relationships. Talk to them and explain why you do the things you do. I mean, you know, for me, that's been a big lesson of mine in ministry. I think for me, I just do a lot of things intuitively. I feel like you know, there's kind of like a second nature in how to do things or administrate things or whatever. And for other people, they're just kind of like, what are you doing? This doesn't make sense to me. And so I need to take time to explain to them, oh, this is why I'm doing it, and this is why I think it works, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think we need to do that in our lives as well when we're talking with people, that you explain to them, you know, the reason why I do this is because of God's love, or because God rescued me from, because God saved my sister from whatever. I mean, we need to explain why we believe, why we do things, even maybe why you go to church. To explain these things to your coworkers and your friends. I mean, we are still fallen. We are still broken. We are not perfect people. Every day we go through, we need to confess. Every day we need to ask God to give us new life. And so we are not far from our non-Christian friends. I mean, we do have a beautiful new life, but we could be in their place also, except for the grace of God. So let them see that we're fallen. Let them see that we're broken. Let them see that we're struggling. I love your title, Doing More by Doing Less, because I think that that's just part of real relationships. I don't want to tell you, these are all these things you need to be doing in evangelism, but just have some good relationships with some non-Christian friends. I mean, I really feel like that's excellent evangelism, is just to have dinner with them, go to the bar with them. I mean, whatever it is, just have a relationship where you're talking. And Jesus, and I know we all have this, kind of in the back of our mind, should I say the name of Jesus at this point? I mean, it's kind of you don't know how the conversation's going to turn or whatever, but that's who you are, and they want to know who you are. I mean, just see where that seed's going to fall. God is in control. Finally, I want to share this video clip. A friend of mine, James Chang, who's in San Diego with InterVarsity, just released this book, as well as this. This will help. This book and this video on his website is listed on the page there. This is just the first page. He has a whole packet of 8 pages. I didn't want to print out all that, but the website is on that first page. And this is a new, basically, gospel diagram that he's come out with. Hi, Irene. Irene and I worked together at Emory for 3 or 4 years or something. Anyway. And I want to show you kind of this new diagram that he's come out with, because I really like it. And he explains it kind of on that page there, but again, why I like it are the same reasons why he likes it. There's a mission involved, and you see kind of God's mission in the world, and then you see what our mission is. It's an ongoing transformational thing. It's not a simple just one-time decision, but it's a lifelong process. I mean, we hear of people who just say, well, on my deathbed, I'll decide to accept Jesus, and I'll be okay. And I think this diagram explains and shows why that's lacking. And this also deals with evil in the world. I think a lot of us probably have heard or used the bridge diagram, and I think this is kind of a little bit one step further that goes into kind of more what God is doing everywhere, instead of just in terms of you crossing a line to get to Jesus. So let me, if you wouldn't mind closing those just to see if we can see it better. Okay.
Tell me what the world's like. When you turn on the news, what do you see? Well, between all the violence and war and terrorism and the AIDS pandemic and global warming, you've got to say our world's pretty messed up. What's interesting is how we feel about that. None of us think that that's a great thing. All of us long and ache for a better world. Well, isn't that interesting? Because hunger seems to point to the fact that food exists, and thirst points to the fact that water or drink exists. So our longing and aching for a better world seems to point to the fact that either a better world did exist or will one day exist. Well, in the Christian worldview, we believe it did. And that back in the day, God designed it so that the planet took care of us and we took care of it, and we took care of each other, and God took care of us and we blessed Him back. And that the whole thing was designed for good. So how did we get here? Well, we decided that we were going to run the show, and when we started chasing our own needs above caring for other people or the planet, we started damaging the planet, we started damaging our relationship with each other, and ultimately we damaged our relationship with God, so that the whole thing was damaged by evil. Well, it's great that God actually loves the planet and us too much to leave us that way. So even in our brokenness, in the Christian worldview 2,000 years ago, God came as Jesus. And in that, He started to teach us a better way to live.